Let's read it.
This is Exodus chapter 19, verse 16.
Come on.
And it came to pass on the third day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud, so that all the people that was in the camp trembled. And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet with God, and they stood at the nether part of the mount. Jumping down to verse number 19. And when the voice of the trumpet sounded long and waxed louder and louder, Moses spake, and God answered him by a voice. And the Lord came down upon Mount Sinai on the top of the mount, and the Lord called Moses up to the top of the mount, and Moses went up.
See that? Read.
Yes, sir. Reading that again, verse number 20. And the Lord came down upon Mount Sinai.
On Mount Sinai, where we received the law, folks, till this day, the Gentiles cannot build anything in that area. If there's a gate around there, it's called the Mountain of Laws.
For now, the northwest corner of Saudi Arabia is home to more camels than people. That would certainly change if Crown Prince Salman's ambitious plans come to fruition. The heir to the Saudi throne recently announced this region as the site of his new $500 billion megacity called Neom.
Imagine a traditional city and consolidating its footprint, designing to protect and enhance nature.
The goal is for up to 9 million people to live here in what's touted as the world's most modern, forward-thinking, and climate-friendly city. Few people, however, know about the deep biblical history of this area. Those who do wonder if the megaproject would help or harm the region's historic value. Andrew Jones has studied biblical archaeology for more than a decade. CBN followed him on a week-long adventure to some fascinating biblical sites, places almost everyone has read about, but few will ever get to see. Jones believes Mount Sinai is actually located here, very close to the proposed site of the new Saudi megacity.
So the biggest issue is that Moses, when he was taking care of Jethro's flocks, now that was his father-in-law, and when he had fled Egypt, he lived in the land of Midian. And the land of Midian is in north of Saudi Arabia. There is no archaeological evidence for Midian in the Sinai Peninsula. And it was on one of those days when he was out with the flocks that it says he went to the mountain of God in the book of Exodus. And it says he saw a burning bush on Mount Sinai. So then you'll realize that Mount Sinai is close to the home where Jethro lived in the land of Midian.
His theory is that after crossing the Red Sea, the Israelites would have wandered in this very desert. As the team retraced their steps, it was easy to see why water was foremost in their minds. After the Israelites crossed the Red Sea in the end of Exodus chapter 15, it says that they came to the oasis called Elim, where there were 12 springs and 70 palm trees. Well, those 12 springs are still here. Here's one of them behind me that's been cemented in over the years, but it's still used by the Bedouins in this area to this day. But will the new Saudi mega project threaten this history?
There's a city they call the Line, which would go from the coast all the way up into the mountains of Midian. And they just announced this next city, which is up in the mountains of Jebel al-Lawz. This whole mountain range we believe to be the mountain of God. And so you will find, as you drive around the desert, these brand new roads that they're putting in, and this whole camp set up for the workers. So it's a multi-year project. We're just hoping that they don't not just ruin the view, but destroy anything of biblical significance out there.
After more off-roading, we came upon this site, a huge mountain with a peak that appears burned.
The evidence is all around us that this is the true Mount Sinai. Now, I know there are many proposed locations for the mountain of God, but this mountain here in the land of Midian is the only one that matches all the biblical evidence for Mount Sinai, or the mountain of God, or another name is Mount Horeb.
This large plain at the base of the mountain would have easily accommodated the Israelites and all their animals, and Jones tells us more.
Ron White discovered these pieces of marble when he first came here in the mid-1980s. In 1985, he found on one of the sections, written in ancient Hebrew, the name Solomon, the mountain of God, Moses. And so he believed, because of these key words, that King Solomon actually set up a marble shrine dedicated to the mountain of God at the base of Mount Sinai.
And look at this, a large altar centrally placed and covered with petroglyphs. Many of the images depict cows, an animal that in ancient times did not exist out here, but did exist in Egypt. If this is the real Mount Sinai, there was no way I was leaving here without climbing it. The Saudi government has big plans for this whole area, hoping to make it an oasis of modern comfort. But I like it just the way it is, and seeing it with my own eyes made the Exodus story come alive. Wow, I made it. This is the top of Jebel Musa, the mountain of Moses, where God came down and met with Moses to give him the 10 Commandments. What a hike. What a sight. It took about 2.5 hours to get up here, and it was almost 3 miles from where we parked the car, but it was worth every step. And you know, I don't think we'll ever be able to say definitively whether or not this is the actual spot where Moses met with God, but I guess that's just where faith comes in. From northern Saudi Arabia, I'm Chuck Holton for CBN News.
See, they can't do to Mount Sinai what they did to Mount Graham. They cannot do to Mount Sinai what they did to Mount Graham. Not only do they have their satanic observatory, they want to call that. They're doing much things here at this gate. They also, on Mount Hermon in Syria, the UN have built a temple at the top of Mount Hermon, which is in Mount Seir. Mount Hermon, folks, is where the fallen angels came down before the flood and taught mankind all types of evil and wickedness. Well, the UN till this day has a base there. Look it up. It's the Paramount you see for Paramount Pictures in Hollywood. Those are the guys they served when the fallen ones came down. That's right, folks. Hollywood is the Celtic wood. Hollywood is the wood that warlocks use to conjure spirits to get knowledge from the fallen angels. And therefore, the fallen angels' children, demons or genies, would come in, not to grant wishes, but to give technology and understanding of how the earth works to those men who would serve them. And those men who would serve them in our society are called geniuses. See, they're not smart at all. They're willing to give their body up to a host, that's all, to gain the ancient knowledge of the earth. They're not geniuses. They're servants to fallen gods and demons. See? They're servants. They're slaves. Because once your wish is granted, your soul belongs to them. Steve Jobs, he didn't get the knowledge of the cell phone and all these things through his own understanding. He went to a mount in India. They put a robe on him, butt naked, and put him in this cave somewhere. And he said that he met a spirit who gave him all the understanding of how to bring the whole world together, leading to the mark of the beast. That's right, folks. He was a dark priest. Bill Gates. Why do you think his name is Gates? He's not that smart, folks. He opened himself up to spirits who's controlling him. The dark forces. They're not geniuses. They're slaves to the dark forces.
Billionaires blocking the sun. AI becoming a religion. And scientists attempting to play God. We are living in dangerous times where technology has so advanced that, in some cases, humans are now attempting to be creator, or at the very least, to modify God's natural order of creation. In 2023, Time magazine published an article titled, "Why Billionaires Are Obsessed with Blocking Out the Sun." And I quote, "Bill Gates, for instance, backed a project by Harvard University scientists to test an idea to spray calcium carbonate into the atmosphere in the skies over northern Scandinavia in 2021. The project was ultimately canned after outcry from local indigenous groups and environmentalists. Jeff Bezos put Amazon's supercomputer capabilities to work, modeling the effects of plans to inject huge amounts of sulfur dioxide, SO2, into the atmosphere later that year. Earlier this month, Dustin Moskovitz, a billionaire Facebook co-founder, plowed $900,000 into funding for scientists in Mali, Brazil, Thailand, and other countries to study the potential effects of solar geoengineering. Even the smaller fry are getting in on the action, with venture capitalists giving a combined $750,000 to a company pledging to implement a planetary solar geoengineering project using SO2. Man has always had a fascination, or rather a sinful urge, to be in control. Today, we see this in abundance. Transhumanism, the proposed use of technology to allow human beings to develop beyond their natural capabilities. This movement is practically a religion to some people. I recently heard one AI expert warned of technology becoming a pseudo-religion, saying, "Artificial intelligence can alter humanity's relationship with reality to the point that humanity's desire for control, which satisfies the anxiety typical of the human condition, could take on a tendency toward a pseudo-religion regarding machines." The theologian said that as machines become increasingly humanized, humans also become increasingly mechanized. Forbes recently published an article headlined, "5 AI Predictions for the Year 2030. Here are a couple of points that the article highlights. We will interact with a wide range of AIs in our daily lives as naturally as we interact with other humans today. By the year 2030, we will use AIs as our personal assistants, our tutors, our career counselors, our therapists, our accountants, our lawyers. They will be ubiquitous in our work lives, conducting analyses, writing code, building products, selling products, supporting customers, coordinating across teams and organizations, making strategic decisions. And yes, by 2030, it will be commonplace for humans to have AIs as significant others. Let's just stop there for a second and read that again. By 2030, it will be commonplace for humans to have AIs as significant others. This is not God's design for anyone when it comes to a relationship. This is not the biblical definition of marriage or love between a husband and wife. Now, the article further goes on to say, over 100,000 humanoid robots will be deployed in the real world. Though most people don't yet realize it, humanoids are on the verge of being deployed in the real world. Tesla is investing heavily to develop a humanoid robot named Optimus. The company aims to begin shipping the robots to customers in 2025. Tesla CEO Elon Musk has stated in no uncertain terms how important he expects this technology to be for the company and the world.
Let's go.
So,
Let's go now. Let's round it up. There's angels that stood by during crisis time. See, the Most High says he will not utterly destroy us. Christ says, I'm the way, the truth, the life. No man cometh to the Father but by me. You follow my way and what? My perfection covers you. Now you have access to the throne, and when the enemy come against you down there, I'm sending reinforcements. The 70 came down and totally destroyed that tower. Imagine the angels who are working for our turn right now without our knowledge. If it was possible, they would have destroyed us already, folks. But the Most High have held back the storm, held back the destruction until he have sealed the number of the 12 tribes of Israel. Right? Let's go to Acts, the first chapter. Let's read it.
Yes, sir. The book of Acts, chapter 1, verse number 7.
Yep.
And he said unto them, It is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in his own power. But ye shall receive power after that the Holy Spirit is come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost part of the earth.
Look, to the uttermost part of the earth. What I'm doing here for you, that's what Christ is saying. Eventually, the whole earth will get it. They'll understand it. They'll have a choice. This ministry I'm giving you, the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. It will go out and eventually heal and bring the children of Israel back to the land.